Hey guys, Barn Geek here. I'm standing in front of what could be a very dangerous situation if you're out in the woods cutting. And I want you guys to be aware of this, especially in these recent years where the ash borer has devastated our forests in Michigan and in the Midwest, in the Northeast. The situation is you have ash trees that are starting to fall over and then lean on other ash trees that are dead as well. There's really no good way to take care of this situation. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about right now. Alright guys, so here's the situation that we've got. We've got a fairly decent sized ash tree that is just snapped off at the base. Because it died, it dried out, it started to get weak, and the wind took it out. And then what happened was, it's still attached here, a part of the trunk is still attached to the base, to the stump. And then if you look up the rest of the tree here, you can see that it's leaning on another tree, which is very common. It's not uncommon to find, for a tree to fall over and lean on another tree. But what's unique about this situation is it has fallen on another dead ash tree and then wedged into the V of that tree. And if you look at the base of this tree, if you see the base of this tree, it is very much compromised. It has, looks like critters have been digging at the base of the tree. So it is, the next strong wind will take this tree out. Now I've got a problem here, and I've got a decision to make. I've got a deer blind right here, right next to that tree, not very far away. And it's very likely the next windstorm that comes through is going to blow this tree down on top of my deer blind. So I got to decide whether it's worth the risk to take this tree out, or to let it be and let the wind take it out. Typically in a situation like this, guys, what I would do is I would cut this tree off where it's connected here. Cut it right there. And I would hook to this tree with a chain on my tractor, and I would pull it down from the tree that it's wedged into. And if that was a live tree, that would be a viable option. But that tree is dead. If I go to pulling on this tree with that tree wedged into it, then I could very well, and I'll show you how guys the top of this tree goes for a long ways, way up there. I would very well pull that tree down on top of myself and the tractor. And that is not a situation that you want to get yourself into. That's why you want to be aware of everything that's going on in the woods. You want to be able to read the structures of all your trees, so that you can operate safely. Most likely what I'm probably going to do in this situation, I'm not going to cut this tree down or that one. I'm not going to touch it. There's only one of two options. One is just to leave it alone and let it fall. The other is to drop another tree on it and hope that it's enough more force and momentum to take both these trees out. Either option is not for the novice woodcutter. If you come across a situation like this in your own woods, and you very likely could, the best thing to do is to mark it as a killer tree and keep everyone away from that area until nature takes it out, because it's not going to be long and it'll be down. Now, okay, so maybe most people's first instinct would be to say, well, let's start chunking up this trunk and let's walk it down. Well, that might work, but the situation with that is, as you get closer to that tree, number one, it's wedged in there pretty good, so you're going to end up with a lot of tree still stuck up in the other tree, and it's not going to come all the way down. Secondly, any kind of force, every time you cut on this trunk, every time you cut on this trunk, this tree is going to fall, and it's going to jar this other tree. And every time it does, it's going to shake a few of those fibers loose that are holding that stump together. And then you have an unpredictable situation where the tree could go whichever way it wants to. Now, I want to point something else out to you guys, and that's this tree over here. This is another dead ash tree, and you might think, well, what's the big deal about this? Matter of fact, the deal with this tree is that it's not actually a tree. Now let me explain. This is part of this tree. And what happened was, when that other tree hit, I don't know if you can see that, but way up there, that limb broke off and then came down here and buried itself. I would imagine that's probably at least 12 inches into the ground. Okay. I want you guys to see that, because this, by far, this type of thing right here is what they call a widowmaker. And this by far is the deadliest, takes out the most people in the woods than anything else. Chainsaws or anything. Dead limbs in the top of trees that get disturbed by you starting to cut at the base of the tree will dislodge, and where are they going to fall? They're going to fall straight down at the base of the tree where you're standing. Always in the woods, always, 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 if you're looking up before you cut, look and see if there are any dead limbs, hanging limbs, or anything like that in the top of that tree, and pay very, very close attention to what's going on. I want you guys to be safe. I know there's a lot of you guys going to be heading out to the woods to do some cutting, and so I wanted to point those two situations out to you so that you know what to look for and what to avoid. If you find a tree that has a widowmaker in it, well, here's one right here. If you look up, it's got a limb hanging down in the top. A little bit of disturbance in that whole limb could come down and hit you with 12 inches into penetrating into the ground force. If it's going to penetrate 12 inches into the ground, how much do you think it's going to penetrate into you? I don't mean to scare you guys. I just want you to be aware and looking for this kind of stuff. If you find a situation like this, the best thing to do, if you're not confident with dealing with it, is to mark that tree as a killer tree, and get you some red tape and mark that off, or red paint, and mark it as a dangerous tree. There is probably more situations like that now in the woods in Michigan, in other parts in the Midwest, because of the ash borer problem. Here's another situation. This is all within just a little bit here, guys. Okay, you look at this tree and you look up. You look up there, and what do you see? Let's see here. Right up there. Might be hard to see, but you follow that down. You follow that down, and it is a limb from another tree. It's the top of another tree that's broken off, and it's over there. Right there. And what's going to happen if you start cutting on the base of this tree? What's going to happen if you start cutting on the base of this tree? As soon as that tree starts falling away, this limb that's leaning across, where is it? Yeah, this limb up here that's leaning across is going to sweep right down here and take you out. So be aware of that situation as well. Another thing you're going to find, guys, is situations like this. Now the tree, I cut the tree off already, but if the tree was still there, I want you to imagine this. Imagine that the tree is still there, and what's going on underneath the ground here. Your assumption might be, well, I can be okay, just cut it off, and it'll be fine, it'll stay there. And that very may well be the case, but it may not. What I've seen happen many, many times is that this tree will uproot and come over, and all that weight of the tree on the end of this root system holds that down. And then once you cut that weight off the end of once you cut that stump, all that weight's released, and there are still roots on the bottom of this tree underneath the ground that are in tension. They're bent over. So the stump is in tension to, it's like a catapult that's been set. So what could happen is that this stump, if you cut it high enough, could come up and whack you very hard and take you out. I've seen it happen. I've not seen actual person getting taken out, but I've cut these stumps and had these flip up, which is rather unsettling, especially if you have a stump that's approximately 10 to 12 feet in diameter. So when you cut that stump off and it flips back up, it makes a loud thump. And especially in a swamp in Michigan, when that thumps, where you're standing, you can feel the wave, because it's almost like a peat bog. You're floating on top of muck. So if you're in a situation like that, be very, very careful and very aware that when you cut this off, this stump could very likely spring back violently and hit the ground. So put yourself in a position that is away from danger. Again, just another tip to get you guys back home from the woods safely. There's a lot of dangerous situations out in the woods right now, and I want you guys to be safe. So anyway, again, this is Aaron, Barn Geek. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, click the thumbs up and subscribe. There's going to be a lot more chainsawing videos, a lot more safety tips for the woods and coming up, and homesteading videos, just all sorts of stuff. So barn building, we're going to be building the barn. So sawmilling, just make sure you subscribe, and you'll see all kinds of stuff like that coming soon. So Anyway, we'll catch you on the next video, and thanks for watching. Have a great day.